for October 17th, 2023. Will everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The upcoming meeting dates are November 21st, 2023 and December 19th, 2023. Let's start with the roll call, starting with John Greenan.
John Greenan.
Don Pappy.
John Eichman.
Ed Miyoshi.
Sarah Bledsoe.
John Giovanoli.
We have minutes for the meeting of September 19th, 2023. I think everybody except Lori was here. I'll accept the motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And an abstention by Lori. I want to let the board know and the members of the audience know that we have a comprehensive plan committee that was just formed by the town of East Fishkill. Our first meeting was on October 5th, 2023. We have 10 members of the committee. In addition to that, we have Rosemary Lasher, who is a master plan coordinator, and of course our own Michelle Robbins is also our town planner and is involved. This is being led by Saratoga Associates under an RFP that they responded to. This comprehensive plan committee will be working on the master plan. We will have monthly meetings with an estimated completion date of second quarter 2025. We only just started, so I really don't have a lot to tell you other than the fact that we're working on a vision statement and we'll be working hard to meet the deadline date. So I think it's really a plus for the town and looking forward to it. First item on the agenda is Valley Christian Church.
Am I able to use this? Okay.
Love it.
Good evening. I'm Steve Whalen of Whalen Architecture. I'm representing the owners of Valley Christian Church. I'm joined tonight by Matt Town of Willingham Engineering. He's the civil engineer for this project. So since our last presentation, we've addressed the comments received from both CPL and HVEA Engineering. Also had a phone conversation this week with Brendan of HVEA and Scott, I believe, from the building department, talking about the parking. So I have what I'm showing up here. This is the revised parking plan. There was a number of, I think there was 9 parallel parking spaces to the main entrance to the church. So between yesterday and today, we've decided that we're going to eliminate those, and that that's going to remain as like a 2-way aisle. All the other changes have been addressed in the documents that you have, and yeah, I can answer any architectural questions, and Matt can answer any civil engineering questions.
I just have a question. How many total spaces do you have now?
So we have, and I've got a revised parking chart on here. So as the parking exists right now, there's 107. We're going to take away 9. The new construction area, we're adding 31. So overall, when the project's done, we'll have a total of 129.
Okay.
And originally, in our previous application, we had 138, so we're taking away those 9 spaces.
And do you know what the requirement is for handicap out of the 129?
Yeah, I've actually got that on the totals, so and we're including both buildings with that. I can separate it, but it's, if there's a total parking spaces between 101 and 150, we should provide 5 handicap accessible spaces. We have 6.
Okay. And they all have an ADA accessible route
That's correct.
to the building? Okay.
So
No
I-
curb lips or anything like that, or if they are, you'll address those?
Yeah, we'll put in, curb drops.
Okay.
Okay, so this, just to confirm, because I'm making sure that we've got it correct in the resolution. You started out with about 107 spaces, did you just say?
That's correct.
Okay, and then you're adding about 22 spaces for a total of 129 spaces, because you had 31, you got rid of 9, right?
Correct, yep.
And that was to resolve some circulation issues, so.
Correct, yeah, for fire department apparatus and
Just
even
overall
just general
circulation.
traffic.
Right.
109.
And then the plan set that is modified is dated with today's date? That's the one that you're
This
gonna be-
plan will be, yes.
Okay, perfect.
So can you repeat again, how many parking spaces are you left with now under the redesign of the parking? How many?
When the project's complete, there'll be,
Yes.
yeah, when the project's complete, there'll be 129.
129. Got it. And as I'm looking at the resolution, I'm wondering, so how many did you have before the
One-
project?
107, he told.
107, thank you.
But he's also improving circulation in the process, traffic circulation on the site.
And Matt and I were actually reviewing the plan, and by making that a 2-way aisle, that actually that helps out with like the turning radius for the fire department apparatus.
Sure.
Any questions or comments by board members? Any additional questions or comments by our professionals?
We had several comments, they may have been addressed in the letter. I didn't have your response letter at the time I wrote my review, so I'll go through those. But you did calculate the cut fill?
Yeah, it's on the civil plan.
Yeah, okay, and could you just tell like how many yards that was?
Sure, so projected cut was 2,850, fill 450. That's subject to change, based on what we find. We're expecting there might be some bedrock.
So like, you're cutting 2,850 yards?
Yeah,
Twenty-
that's,
That's a lot of, that's a lot of material. What are you going to do with it?
I think we're gonna haul it off-site.
Okay, I don't know if that, I don't think that falls under the cut fill special use permit, does it?
We'll have to get a permit maybe from the building
I
department.
know it's applicable for subdivisions, I don't know about the site.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a different use, I'm just,
Yeah, for
So
I'm
I
just
think
looking
we
at
can
the
just
total
add a
volume.
condition to the resolution that if a cut and fill permit's needed for any, once the work is finalized, then you'll just apply and meet all the qualifications and receive it.
By the building. Would go to you.
That would go to building, not to zoning? Okay,
Yep.
okay.
All right,
Okay.
so I'll add that condition. I'll state it when we get there.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? If not, we have a resolution for approval. Name of site plan, Valley Christian Church. Name of applicant, Valley Church. Location, 1072 Route 82. Resolution offered by Planning Board member John Eichman. Whereas the applicant is applying for a minor site plan approval to expand the existing Valley Christian Church parking lot. Whereas the applicant owns 2 adjacent parcels, Lot 1 and Lot 2 on Route 82. Whereas the parcels were combined to create one lot. Whereas the lot contains Valley Christian Church and an accessory office storage building used by the church with a total of approximately 107 parking spaces between the 2 parcels. Correct me if I make any mistakes on parking, by the way. And whereas the applicant is proposing to join the parcels and connect and expand the parking area on the lots by 30 spaces for a total of do I understand, 129 spaces?
Correct.
So we're expanding it by
22.
22 spaces.
That's correct.
Got it. Whereas the proposed parking lot expansion will provide additional parking for weekend services and special events held at the church, whereas the proposed action is a type 2 action under seeker, no further seeker review is required, whereas the planning board determined the proposed action is a minor site plan amendment, and per section 194.25D of the East Fishkill zoning code waives the requirement for a public hearing. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the site plan as represented on a map entitled for Valley Church, 1072 Route 82, Hopewell Junction, New York, prepared by Wayland Architecture and dated October 1st, 2022, and last reviewed October 17th, 2023, with the following conditions. Number one, proof of the merging of lots, of the two lots into one parcel. Number two, satisfactory resolution of all comments in the CPL letter dated 10/17/23. Number three, satisfactory resolution of all comments on the HVEA letter dated 9/15/23. Number four, subject to verification of location of ADA accessible parking and route by town engineer and town planner. And number five,
Be subject to an excavation and fill permit to be issued by the building department if necessary.
excellent, thank you. Could I have a second for this resolution?
Second.
Okay, the votes will be by roll call. Board Member Lori G.
Aye.
Board Member Ed Miyoshi.
Aye.
Board Member Sarah Bledsoe.
Aye.
Board Member Donald Pepe.
Aye.
Board Member John Greenan.
Aye.
Alternate Board Member John Giovanoli.
Aye.
Chairperson John Eichman. I'm an aye. It passes. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, one question. What date did you have for my letter? Did you have?
I had today's date. Is it a,
It was yesterday.
Yesterday.
It was yesterday's date.
thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is an adjourned public hearing. I think we are going to further adjourn that to the next meeting. I don't know if anybody's here to speak for or against the Formicola subdivision. If not, I'd accept a motion to further adjourn that public hearing to our next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, excellent. So, next item on the agenda, Gasland East Fishkill Wine and Spirits.
Excuse me. Good evening. My name is Thomas Kerrigan with LaBelle Associates, the civil engineers on the project. We were before you the previous month. We received comments. We've addressed a portion of those. Some of them we're still working on, specifically the traffic study, which we went out and we did the counts for that, and a report is being generated. It will be submitted in the next submission. But I just kind of want to take you through some of the changes we made.
You know, while you're looking for things, I'd like to remind the board that at the last meeting, we actually passed a motion to exercise our discretion to waive any requirements with regards to the front yard setback unless determined by council that that was inappropriate. Council actually determined it was appropriate, and so this particular project does not need to go to the zoning board. There are no other issues to deal with on that.
Thank you. So we, at the previous meeting, we had shown our intent to connect to an existing well on site for the purpose of the liquor store building with the apartments above. We are now showing connection and extension of a water main to the east of the
Fishkill
property.
Plains, that'd be a Fishkill Plains Water District.
Yes. And bring that in, and it was requested per the fire inspector that because it is a gas station site and there are apartments, that fire suppression be included in the building. We are intending to show that and are providing connection as well as another hydrant on the site. We also received a comment from one of the members of the board about potentially providing some screening along the front. There is an existing overhead utility line along Route 376 on the property side, but where there are some existing landscaping there currently. So we do show some landscaping, but we can't fully screen it just because it would interfere with that overhead wire. That's pretty much where we are now. As I mentioned, some of the items we're still working to address, such as the lighting, and we'll be providing that in the next submission package.
Okay, at the last meeting, you guys declared your intent to be lead agency, and the applicant circulated, but it hasn't been quite 30 days yet, so I think we'll hold off until the next meeting before we declare lead agency. I believe you were referred to the ARC at the last meeting, so I think you've got an upcoming meeting on November 2nd.
Yes, I don't think a submission has been made. I've spoken with the architect who is preparing for that meeting and will be submitting for has submitted for that one or will be submitting for the one after
I
that.
think that's due next week or the following week.
Okay.
So you should circle back with the planning office and speak with Jeannie Burke, and she'll give you the dates and the requirements for that meeting.
Thank you.
And then, since it was not circulated, but at this time, the meeting, the public hearing for the Architectural Review Council is done through us. So you'll be providing us with elevations and renderings at the next meeting. So you need to bring those to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, where are you with the health department with regard to septic?
The septic had been previously approved
For this expansion?
for so the project had gotten a building approval and a health department approval to put apartments above the existing convenience store. At the time of that approval, they had designed it with the capacity for potential development in the liquor store, the proposed liquor store building. So as far as the sizing of the system, it is adequately sized. We do need to revise the pump station slightly, just because upon the actual design of the service connection, we found that the pipe, when it comes in, doesn't provide enough elevation for the floats to work properly. So we will be revising that plan and seeking it amended. We haven't.
And the health department will have to review and approve
Yeah,
that as well?
we've been in contact with them, but we haven't made a formal submission yet.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments or questions by board members? Any further comments or questions by our professional group?
I made a couple minor plan-related comments, lighting, turning movements. The plans now show a water main extension along 376 that's going to require a permit from the New York State DOT and probably approval from the health department for that extension. We suggest the fire advisory board review the suitability. They're showing a 2-inch fire service, so I don't know if that's going to be sufficient for their design. They have to go through their design for the sprinkler connection for that building up front. And we note that just that front building that's being renovated is going to be served with water. Are you planning on serving the other buildings with water?
No, not currently. The existing auto shop doesn't have any facilities, either restrooms or any sinks or any of that nature. They have an office in the Convenience Mart building in the back, so they go across to use that, and that will be maintained as part of this. And the existing well will be also maintained as part of this. They have a system in place.
They're not required to abandon that existing well, are they, if they're connecting to town water?
As long as there's no potential cross-connection, so as long as that liquor store is not connected to the convenience store.
It is not, no.
So And being that you have an active site, I don't know if you're going to plan on fencing off an area, just something to kind of show us how you're going to construct this and protect the public that's in and
We
out of
we
the site.
did provide it in our last submission, showing that the, in general, yeah, that area specifically along the existing building in the front, which is going to be the liquor store, and along the side of where the existing auto shop is, where they're removing some of the asphalt. That will be fenced off and
Okay.
protected from
Okay.
traffic.
We had a couple questions about the existing building. Is that going to be used, or is that going to be demolished?
All the buildings will remain, the footprints aren't changing. The liquor store building is just being renovated with adding a second story above,
And the entrances to the apartments are going to be where, in front?
around the
Back?
rear, or in the back.
They're in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I think we're prepared to schedule a public hearing. Will you be ready to do it on our meeting of November 21st?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So I'll accept a motion to schedule a public hearing for the applicant for November 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We will
Thank
see you
you.
at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Paradise Preserve subdivision.
Doesn't even really matter if it's over 5 acres, they're in the watershed. They gotta do a full
5,000.
Good evening. So this is submission number 2, preliminary plat review for Paradise Preserve 6-lot subdivision. And the owner applicant is Paradise Preserve. I'm the civil engineer, and another civil engineer, Alfonsetti Engineering, prepare stormwater management and erosion control plans for the project. And the surveyor is Stanley Johnson Company. Robert Johnson is the surveyor for the project. My name is Shar Kalev, and I am here with Mr. Pete and Ms. Christine Monteleone, the owners of the property, and for Alfonsetti Engineering is Ms. Lauren Brennan. Last time we were here in January 17 for the sketch plan review, and just to recap, the property is located off Grape Hollow Road. It is situated in the east of Hudson watershed. The boundary line between town of Beekman and town of East Fishkill is adjacent to the property, and the red line represents Grape Hollow Road, which is a local road. And this line is I-84. The lot area is 93.3 acres. The applicant owns properties surrounding the property. One is in town of East Fishkill, 19 acres, and 2 of them are in Beekman, almost 42 acres and 1.5 acre. So the property which is to be subdivided is shown in the green, and the property which are being owned also by the owner is in blue. It is the property is surrounded by 2 subdivisions. One, I believe, is partially constructed. That's Contelmo subdivision, and then the other one, I believe, is not fully built. That's the Lost Village Farm subdivision. This map shows steep slopes. The light green are slopes 0 to 10%, which are then 10 to 15% is the darker green, and in the red is over 15%. This map shows slopes in blue, over 30% slopes. So the lot area is 93.3 acres. We have wetlands, floodways, water bodies overlapping each other, which is about 20.5 acres. Steep slopes are 31 acres. And based on the formula which is listed in the town code for computing number of lots, the formula yields 16 lots, theoretical lots, which is more than six lots being proposed. The property is zoned R3 residential, and this is from zoning map, town of East Fishkill. The property use history was obtained from the town of East Fishkill property cards, and the codes were obtained from the manuals for assessment manuals. So prior 1986, it was listed as camps, cottages, bungalows, seasonal residences, one-family year-round residence, and current property use is residential multi-purpose, multi-structure property. This map is from a map which was prepared in 1979 in then owner, and it shows 5 residential structures and tennis court and some handball court. This is structure number 1. This is east view of structure number 2. And this is west view of structure number 2. And structure number 3. Four, 2005. Those buildings were built in late 1930s, early 1940s, and they do not have any historical value. I know last time you asked me about that, and we were, so since we got a letter from the park Office of Historic Preservation, I know there is floating thinking that this used to be a Girl Scout camp, but I was unable to find anything regarding that, and went back to late 1800s for ownership, and it was always owned by individuals, or there was some company, Kingston Holdings, but I don't know what. Nobody ever tried to develop the property before, based on the search through the town planning folder. So the subdivision is into 6 lots. We have the part which kind of governs the subdivision is the availability of area for subsurface disposal systems. In 2021, the owner obtained permit for septic system for 440 gallons, which happens to fall on lot number 2. And in 2018, there was a application submitted to the health department for also 440 gallons system, which falls now on lot number 6. Then we have lot number 5, where the capacity, the design capacity is 550 gallons. And the plans for the subdivision, basically the same plans where we submitted to you, were sent to the Dutchess County Health Department. Then we have lot number 4, which has capacity also 440 gallons. Lot number 1, 330 gallons capacity. And lot number 3, 220 gallons capacity. So this is where the blue indicates where lot number 1 is located. The red line highlights 100 feet from the New York State wetland boundary. We are not encroaching into that buffer, 100-foot buffer. The driveway length is 125 feet. For lot number 2, the driveway length is 120 feet. That's, I'm pointing that out for the fire department comments that any driveway over 1,000 feet has to have a pull over for the. Again, we are away from the 100-foot wetland buffer. This one is lot number 3. Driveway length is 362 feet. And again, this is the 100-foot wetland buffer area. And the same goes for lot number 4. Driveway length is 250 feet. And the wetland, we are staying out of the 100-foot wetland buffer. The wetland portion of the wetland was delineated by wetland scientist, Mr. Kozlowski, because we were concerned about the proximity at this area. So he put the flags on the edge of the wetland, and that was surveyed by the surveyor, field survey. You have lot number 5. This is where the driveway is exceeding the 1,000 feet. And initially thought that the pull over area would be as highlighted in green, but if it's supposed to be by half distance, then it would be somewhere where the blue circle is. And the last is lot number 6. That's the largest lot, around 61 acres. And this is the proposed development. The 100-foot buffer appears to skim over the existing driveway or its lane. And we look at the site distances for the proposed driveways. So we created the plan and profile showing the how the site distances were determined, and actually we met in the field with the highway superintendent. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Yes, we met at the property to look at the couple of the driveways. And this is lot number 6, which is actually existing condition, existing driveway. And here is the letter from the Office of Historic Preservation, which indicates that there would not be any impact on archaeological or historic resources. We have area based on the plans which were presented. We determined the area of disturbance of each lot and combine the fall to be 4.74 feet. I understand there is a concern that that may exceed 5 acres if we do some, maybe the pullover or whatever will kick it over 5 acres, and we will take a look at it, and if necessary, we would address the condition of the total area disturbance being 5 acres. this map represents very schematically the drainage patterns. We have a Grape Hollow Brook, which flows from the right from north to south. The blue line represents area, and the blue arrows represent area which drains to PQ, the Atlant PQ 23. This light green line represents a ridge line where the stormwater runoff from Lot 5 would be directed to Stump Pond stream, and stormwater runoff from the Lot 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is about in this area, would continue going and would continue to go to PQ 23. And lot number 6 runoff is split between going towards PQ 23 and PQ 22. And with that, the stormwater management and erosion control, Lauren Brennan of Alfonsetti Engineering will guide you through that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Lauren from Alfonsetti Engineering. I'm here to answer any questions regarding the stormwater design for the proposed subdivision. And I just want to say that when we submitted, we only included a stormwater report for Lot 5, which was over an acre disturbance. And our thought process was that each lot is going to be developed separately, but as the engineer pointed out, the overall disturbance is going to be around 5 acres, so we're going to have to speak with the client to see what our next options are to try to keep that under 5 acres disturbance.
I don't know if you want to solicit the board for input, or I can
Go ahead,
address
Christian.
concerns regarding
Yeah, please go
stormwater
ahead
on
and
this.
start. That'd be great.
Yeah, this particular project is situated completely in the east of Hudson watershed, the New York City watershed. So the threshold for even requiring coverage under the general permit is only 5,000 square feet. So even a single family residence requires a full SWIP. Even if this was just one lot, they weren't proposing any subdivision whatsoever, they would require a full SWIP. So this action is going to require full SWIP erosion control, which they're showing, but they're going to have to do full post-development attenuation and water quality for all disturbed areas. And there's additional requirements in the east of Hudson. It requires enhanced phosphorus removal. It's a difference in the calculations, but essentially all of the lots are going to require to be treated in some fashion in order to comply with the Phase 2 regulations for DEC. And also, they had provided a letter from DEP dated earlier this year, references a plan depicting less than 5 acres disturbance. Now, whether it's 4.9 or 5.1, I don't know what the DEP requires if it exceeds 5 acres, but that letter may need to be revisited once they revise their plans and address all the additional requirements. And we had a number of comments regarding, driveways, things like that. Several of the lots appear to have drainage piping going from one lot to the next.
We try to keep it in the same lot, but I think for lot 1 and 2, there's like a pond that's very close to the lot line, so
Yeah, Lot 1 is piped across to Lot 2, 3 goes to 4. All those are going to require some form of easement or a stormwater management district to handle all that. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. You know, being in the East Hudson watershed, it's a whole new ballgame in terms of the minimum that you have to do. Normally, it's if you exceed 1 acre, you have to get coverage under the permit. If you exceed 5 acres, then you have to do a full SWIP, or if it's a commercial. Here, the threshold is a lot lower, and every lot's going to need to have some form of treatment to meet the requirements.
Got it. Thank you. Questions or comments from board members?
Not related to stormwater, but with the previous discussion about the driveways with the big lot, it looked like that driveway was going to be running through the wetland area for a little bit, based on the picture
I
that
think
you showed?
there's an existing driveway that goes through an area that's designated as an adjacent area, if I'm not mistaken. And
that's the existing condition.
so when we have to, we will tonight declare our intent to be lead agency, and then we will have to send the plans to all the different agencies that will have permit and approval authority. So they will have to look at the plans and determine whether or not they're going to require some sort of permitting for that existing road. Is it a dirt road right now, or is it paved?
It's paved.
It is paved. So that will have to be sent to all the agencies, yeah.
Yeah, it's the driveway for Lot 6. The new portion of the driveway goes to, the name of that road is Deverly Lane. So that will require a permit, but also we noticed that the existing portion of Deverly Lane isn't at least 12 feet wide, so I don't know if that needs to be brought up to full town driveway specification.
Would, yes.
So that additional area, that's going to also be within the DEC adjacent area. I'm not saying that the DEC could, deny it. They may require some additional mitigation to handle that.
Does the driveway go to an existing house or proposed house?
It goes to those dilapidated houses that are up kind of in the middle of the site.
They're going to be replaced with a new house, or are they just? gonna
Those are
be-
proposed to be demolished and removed from the site.
With a new house going in?
Yes.
The new house is
one.
coming in off it. It's not up amongst those cabins. It's,
My point is that that driveway is going to serve as a new house. It would have to be up to today's standards. If it's existing, grandfather, that was my point.
no, it's going to be a new house. It has to be redone.
Other questions or comments by board members? Other comments by our professionals? Well, this was an excellent introduction to the project. We appreciate it. So we need to declare our intent to be lead agency. May I have a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Are we prepared to also try to schedule a public hearing?
I think we've got some
Or
comments
do we
that
have
need
some
to
work
be-
to do on the SWIP?
Yeah, I think so.
Got it.
I think we need to address some of the,
Yep.
because they might have to move stuff around, you might have to move stuff around if you want to keep stuff out of the DEP requirement of the 5 acres, right? So,
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that DEP requirement is, but depending upon how the plans ultimately shape up, you may need to go back to them, and that may trigger the need for an additional permit. So the DEP, I believe, at a minimum, should be circulated to as an interested agency.
Okay. If there's no other questions or comments, we thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Clove Branch Crossing.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Camille Niles. I am with Sallard Property Group. I am looking to convert my storage space on my whole second floor on 135 Clove Branch Road into office space, looking to have a site plan amendment. With that, I know that I would need to upgrade my parking. So I have a proposed site plan revision for my parking lot. Right now, I have 27 spaces. I have 2 which are handicap and 1 which is van accessible, and I know I'm going to need to provide 4 handicap spaces with 1 van accessible. So my current tenant, ABC Speech Therapy, is in need of additional space. So as of now, I'm in talks with them for the upstairs. So I have, as you can see right now, the layout I have right now for the existing floor plan, it's just storage space. There's stairs in the back to go up. There's a back entrance, which I'll show you in a moment. So basically, I'd like to be able to rent it out, whether it's to them or to another office-type business. So their type of business, this would be the worst-case scenario, to make sure that I have sufficient parking. So that's why I'm using them as a business model. If they choose to take it, this would be the worst-case scenario, as in the amount of therapists and clients and stuff like that. So I figured I'd just go through with it, see where it takes. If they don't take it, it would be on a much smaller scale. It's just because they're currently my tenant, and I do have the additional space. It's just not storage right now. So right now on the screen is what it looks like upstairs right now. It's just 2 out of the 3 rooms are sheetrocked, and I'm just looking to finish off that space. And I'll show you my parking. So this is the existing parking I have right now. I have 27 spaces. Defined by the code, I would need 28 spaces, which if we were to use the upstairs for this business model for ABC. And the proposed plan is the parking I would need to modify some of the parking lot to make that extra space. In the event that ABC doesn't take the upstairs, I am aware I need to provide 2 additional parking spaces because it's a different business. So I'm aware of that as well, and I would present that to the board if need be. So this is the model for ABC, but I am aware I would need to provide 2 more. So if anybody has any questions or comments, my engineer could not be here tonight, Robert Morris from Morris Engineering, but anything I can answer, I'll present to him.
How crowded is the current parking lot?
Well, I'm going to be very clearly honest with you. ABC is expanding as we speak. So right now, they are aware it's either they take the upstairs or they find a second location. So they went from the small little space and they just grew. So I am monitoring everything to see how everything, how the tenants fit, because the last thing you want is not to have a parking spot for a client or, so the program that they're looking to do upstairs is a drop-off program. It's a little bit more detailed than what they're doing now. They're doing small group sessions, but they're looking to do like 2-hour group sessions, drop-off, pick-up type thing. So this would 100% be the worst-case scenario, meaning another type of business.
I think the gist of that question was more around, like, if, fire trucks or an ambulance had to come in, and is your parking lot, is the new parking lot going to be equipped to handle that, I guess, is
Well, it would probably be the way it would be now, that you pull up in front of the hatch in front of the garage, the van accessible hatch, because I don't have a fire lane in there. You know, if that's what you're looking, I don't have a fire lane in there, and it would definitely be, you pull up and then there's 4 doors, you know,
And is the space accessible only through an interior stair? Is there an exterior stair?
It's only interior, which I'm going to show you.
That's in the back?
It's in the back. There's a gravel walkway. It's not paved on the side of the building. I actually have, I don't know if I can bring up the picture. And it would be through, the staircase is in the back of the Unit 3, and it's closed, there's a door closed off so that the physical therapy is still private, and there's a staircase to go up to the 2nd floor. Just gotta see if I
The drawing
can.
you show now is for more physical therapy space upstairs as the plan right now?
Physical therapies, no, they're just downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so right now, the whole entire upstairs is just storage, it's just,
No, now, but the change, the new plan
Yeah.
is for more office space upstairs?
for ABC speech therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not for the physical,
therapy.
not for the physical therapy. Yeah, so it would be for the speech. Jackie, I don't know how to get out of this to go back to the image. I'm just trying to get the picture. I have a picture in here of what it looks like around the back of the building. Sorry, Michelle, I can't.
Entrance out to a small pad, which in the winter was never taken care of. Yeah, yeah. Now you're gonna have.
There's, should be 3 other files on here. Oh, I think we have to hit open. Sorry about that. Okay, all right. I'll provide more information on that, but there is access, separate door to get to the back of the building for office.
So do you have plans to change the way that you access it? Like, are you gonna take down trees? Is there enough room to walk
Oh, there's enough
through
room.
there?
There's a 5-foot gravel path around the back of the building, and there's lights behind the building, you know, to get to the,
Got it, okay.
yeah, so it's all cleared.
Is that going to be ADA accessible,
So you're gonna
the
need to
new
pave that.
space?
Well, it is on the 2nd floor, so it will be ADA accessible from the parking lot if you're asking if there's going to be like a ramp, but to get to the 2nd floor, there's an existing staircase there, so it's kind of what's there. I don't know what, I would refer to the code to see if, but I don't know if it's for I thought it was for 3rd floor that would be an issue.
I'm gonna maybe ask for Matt in this, but I think my understanding is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if it's an existing business that has access to a 1st floor and they're using a 2nd floor, it's okay because the folks that are going there can actually access the 1st floor, but if it's a different business that goes into the 2nd floor, then they have to have ADA accessibility. I believe that's the rule on, okay. So in this,
Reasonable accommodation.
Okay.
and in this particular building, there's the speech therapy practice and then there's the physical therapy practice. And one of the reasons that she needs the extra handicap spaces, because typically when you have 27, you would only need about 1 or 2 handicap spaces, because there's a higher requirement when there's a physical therapy practice for ADA parking. And at times, they're very, very full in their parking lot. At times, we drove by there the other day, and there was enough spaces, but there are times when there's not enough spaces. And so the issue is that with the additional 4 handicapped, there might be some need for additional parking. Is there any way, do you have room on the side of the driveway to add any
I wish.
additional? No?
No, we went through all our options. So the thing too is ABC is expanding rapidly, and that's definitely, and they're also on a time constraint too. So that was my whole thing, that I know that if time-wise, but for permits construction, that it just doesn't fit them getting up there fast enough, they may have to go elsewhere. And I'm aware of that. So that's why I'm saying this is 2 therapy practices, one expanding that's in the little space, and the big one that's doing their thing they've been doing. So that's where I'm in the bind, that I either provide the space or it would be a much lesser type, and I'm no to do that. It's just I have them existing, and I'm trying to help them. Yeah, so that's the times, there are times, and I know that's the times with the gaps, one pickup, one drop off, and the whole bit. And
So is the speech therapy, most of the time, the kids get dropped off, or is it both? Like,
it's both, because it's, right now, because they're looking for the other program, that would be what's going upstairs. They are expanding, and the parents are in the parking lot. Some are staying, some are going, coming early, that kind of thing, things that are like out of our control. But we have discussed and spoke about hours of operation and how we're going to handle excessive, overbooking or any of that. And that's where, we're working on all that to accommodate and aware of it.
and there's no, and I'm assuming the septic is over on the other side, so there's probably no ability to expand the parking.
Septic's on the 82 side. The 82 side. I would love to add that parking lot. We're down to accommodate every code,
So do I understand they do meet our parking requirements, notwithstanding the fact that reality is otherwise, the fact that it's already pretty tight, and it will be tighter with the addition of the office space?
Well, it would be managed differently because they're going to have the program, that I believe it's two 2-hour sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, to use the space upstairs. It would be managed differently. It would be, the downstairs is strictly, parents could stay, because they technically have the 2 spots in front of their space right now. And then, like I said, because they grew, it wouldn't be much more than what we have now, but it would be managed differently to accommodate whatever programs they're doing.
So to clarify, so a different user that might come in would be a change of use that would actually require that it would come back to this planning board or not?
So if there was a new user downstairs, for sure, they would have to come back as a change of use. I mean, although if it was a similar use, they might not have to, and they might be able to go right into the building department.
The code was amended in the past year or so, so if there was a new use that was less intense than the existing use, then they may not have to come back. It would all depend on the type of new use.
Got it.
And that word less intense is what I'm after, is less usage.
Yes.
So I'm very aware of that, meaning that that's my goal, is to, stretch out what's there, keep the timeframes, to keep the businesses coming and going, seamlessly, because I'm very aware of, what
So what you're talking about, managed differently, essentially, that'll just be the scheduling of when the people are getting dropped off
Yeah,
and picked up and things to try to manage your parking lot situation?
Micromanage everything, yeah. And both tenants understand when I tell them, about overbooking, and, because it can happen anywhere, you know what I mean? I mean, we all use medical facilities and know how it is. You waiting for a half hour, just, it's just the day you can't really control, and who comes early, who stays later than their appointment, that kind of thing. That's why this would be worst-case scenario. And it's mainly for, like I said, I'm hoping they go upstairs, but if they're unable to, it would be a much lesser situation.
Do you know how many patients or doctors or whatever clients are going to be upstairs? How many are new speech therapists and then clients would be there?
Yes, so right now they do have additional, this is only, right now it started off with 2 therapists downstairs, but they grew. And that's when I became aware of that they need more space, or they need an additional location, or they need to just move somewhere where it's larger space. So it would be, right now, I believe they have like 5 therapists, and they would have 7, so that would be 2 more.
All right, so they're expanding to 7.
Yes, and that would be the groups upstairs, but they would keep their individual sessions, individual therapies. So it would be the group therapies upstairs, and then the individuals down. And they would keep it to the minimum where they were originally, when they originally became the tenant over there. That's prior to me owning the property. They were 2 therapists, 2 down, and then they grew, and now they would just stretch upstairs and keep their private lessons downstairs.
Is there a property located close by that you could enter into an overflow parking agreement with?
I wish. Well, there is, but it's like across the street.
Is there a
Very
crosswalk or safe?
No, but that intersection's very dangerous. The 82 intersection. I would definitely love to entertain that, but it's not probable, for safety reasons.
There isn't a set of interior stairs?
There's a set of interior stairs, yep.
Well, potentially, there could be something coming along those lines if that storage thing, which is pretty much next door to that, comes through. But that's a lot of ifs.
And there's no sidewalks.
So, other questions or comments?
Is there a chance that if they move upstairs that they'll abandon the downstairs unit and then you'll have a 3rd tenant in that building?
No, absolutely not. The agreement would be for that, because I wouldn't take the risk of having something that type of facility. So they're either going to take the upstairs, according to the application, or this is stretching it for me, and I'm willing to do that for them and micromanage, but if they need elsewhere, I'm not committing them to it, only because I want to make sure I can accommodate what I have. I don't want more than what I can accommodate.
Sure.
So I would not, they would, if anything, they would keep their small little space and have a second location. And then I would have a more quiet type insurance, accountant, engineer, something more lower key.
Okay.
I think if you have a 3rd tenant, what we're getting at is that's when the ADA requirements would kick in, right?
You mean if that wasn't ABC upstairs?
Right. So
If it wasn't,
it's not an
the units were
accessory use to a
combined.
downstairs tenant, then you would require
Okay,
require ADA access.
This is like a 50-50 thing with me, so I would just need to look into that then. Even if it wasn't like a medical facility or some type of
looking at Michelle to make sure I'm not misstating that. That's what I understood.
With a question like that, you'd retain an architect they would be best?
Yes, my engineer, we've been looking into the ADA for the parking and all that, and I believe we saw where it's the third floor is where it's the ADA, because we've been kind of doing a little bit of homework on that, but I will confirm with him.
Okay.
During our review, we noticed we have a few minor site plan comments, but we did notice that the ADA loading and unloading area needs to be 8 feet wide minimum,
Yes.
and it doesn't look like you have it.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, no, we definitely have to modify that. Absolutely.
Okay. So,
And then, I guess, so we need the fire folks to review for circulation. And then I mean, I don't know how to resolve the parking, other than the only thing I could suggest is for us to have some sort of, or maybe you have someone go out and count spaces at a certain time and give us some data about like how full it is. Because we've witnessed it a few times and it's been pretty full. The other day we were there, there was a few spaces open, but we really need some sort of idea about how full it is, because there's really there's nowhere to go. So if people are, if you can't really overpark there, because you'll be out on the street.
No. Yes. And that's my whole thing. This is like, I guess you would say, trying to accommodate an existing tenant. And it would have to be, and we've had conversations, like it can't get any worse than what we have, and it would be more of the drop-off, parents would have to know you can't stay in the parking lot type thing. It would be more structured. Instead of come and go as you want, it would be you have to drop and go. You can't stay for the 2 hours and wait for your child, So there's that kind of thing.
I just wonder how you enforce something like that,
Yeah, I'm very hands-on with my tenants. I have, not that I'm saying I have rules, but I do, for there not to be issues, they would have to, for them to stay at the space, they would have to. That would be actually part of, in the lease agreement, because it has to flow. I can't harm my other tenant to accommodate one tenant over another, meaning I can't have their patients not have spaces just to have a tenant. That's foolish on my part, in a way that I would have to enforce it that way.
Is there any way to add any parking in the front?
Labeled?
That you could stack for employees?
Oh, yeah. That's where, if we, remember I had mentioned if I need the 2 extra, that would be something, and it would have to be strictly employee, because it would be when you first pull in, we were able to stack a couple, but it wouldn't be for coming and goings. It would have to be for someone being there for 10 hours.
I think we need to get a sense of what the number of cars are at each point in the day before we can really look at this, because to see if it's even realistic.
Okay. And the thing too is that the situation we have now, it's expanding.
I know, it's not even the
So
worst
it's a
case.
little bit of a situation of where I'm going to be at, not so much as worse. When I say worst case scenario, I mean this is the most it's ever going to be for a tenant in the upstairs space. So if I tell ABC, you have to tell me how many more spaces we're going to have into what we see in the parking lot right now. Because right now, I don't know exactly when they have their bulk of their clients. I do know it's in the afternoon, because I've been there around 2 o'clock, and I do know that must be when they have, because in the morning, it's kind of quiet.
It sounds like to me what you may want to consider is have your engineer do
Maybe HVA.
like a daily
Yeah.
assessment of parking
Different
by
times.
hour throughout the week, get a few weeks' worth of data, then have your engineer do like a parking
Like an
assessment,
analysis?
a projection,
A projection.
and then see
Okay.
how that would pan out.
All right, well, we can speak with our traffic engineer and see if he has any suggestions about what we might be able to do to make sure we get the full picture of what's going on there, and have him
So
look at
you'll
the...
let me know?
Yeah, and have him look at the parking.
And like I said, this is going towards the worst, meaning what you see is them expanding as we speak, because the school year started. And so I don't know how deep they're in right now. I know they're trying to juggle and find, and you know, they're looking for me to provide extra space. But if they're at their max right now, then this would be the scenario. But they are looking around actively. They know that this is a little bit of a long road because of permits and renovation, so that we have to factor too, timeframes. You know, that can mean a lot and for school.
All right, so let's speak with the traffic engineer, and then I'll get back to you about what next steps would be.
Perfect.
Great, excellent. And so at this point, no action is necessary?
No, I think we
Excellent.
need to get some more information before we can...
So thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to be brought before the planning board for this evening?
They're back.
Pardon me?
Looks like they're back.
Okay, so we've got Paradise Preserve subdivision. Did you have additional information you wanted to present?
Well, I guess more questions.
Okay.
We discussed the project in the lobby, and whatever would be lying ahead for the project and what would have to be done. And the applicant is considering reducing the number of lots. Instead of developing into 6 lots, the property would be 4 lots. That's what we very quickly discussed in the lobby. So I was wondering, would that change anything today, what was done as far as the lead agency? Would that require another?
I don't think it'll change anything process-wise. You might as well circulate based on 6 lots. It's better to circulate based on a more intense project than a less intense project. So if you're still considering whether to go 6 or 4 lots, I think it should be circulated based on the 6 lots. And you'll still need a public hearing. Christian will still have to review the stormwater.
I just don't know, is there any threshold they would avoid by reducing the lots with the DEP and the soil?
Only with DEP, even, you know, in their plan set, they actually had approved plans. I think it was Lot 3, the septic system for Lot 3.
Lot 2.
It was Lot 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, that one would require a full SWIP before you could construct it, even though you have
I'm sorry.
DEP, you have to have a full SWIP in place before you could construct on that lot, regardless of the fact that you have Board of Health approval for that lot. You'd still have to go through that process.
If you eliminate that particular lot, what does that do for them?
Nothing.
But you said they got to have a full SWIP just for that lot.
They passed new rules.
For every lot.
So for each lot.
For each lot.
One single-family residence requires a full SWIP.
Oh, I thought you were saying something about that one in particular.
Oh, that one in particular, yeah, I mean, they have approval for that, but even if they were to pull a building permit for it, they'd still have to have a SWIP in place for that.
Along with all the others?
Correct.
Okay.
So even one lot trips the requirement for a full SWIP.
So you don't save anything?
So if you go for the most extreme and you have issues with DEP, then you can start cutting out lots afterwards, and you would have already analyzed the worst-case scenario. So you're probably better off doing that and then seeing what their comments are and seeing if you can address their comments.
I think my personal experience and concern is that when you are supposed to provide SWIP for DEP and DEC, sometimes the regulations are not are conflicting, and it gets complicated and difficult, and especially in this case where we have the septic systems and we have to be
even for 2 lots, though.
I'm sorry?
You would have that even for 2 lots. You'd have that same difficulty even for 2 lots.
have it for
You'd have
one.
the same level of scrutiny, even for 2 lots.
If you just want to build a house on 93 acres.
Because you're in a DEP watershed.
And they changed the regulations in 2022 or recently and made them more stringent. I think that's when the 5,000, the
The
lower,
5,000 square foot requirement has been around for a while.
but there was some rule that they changed that made it even stricter very recently.
So I think the recommendation made by Mr. Cunningham, counsel for the town, was a good one, that we declare intent for the plan as presented tonight, and if you choose to scale it back a little bit, that's your call, and that's something you could do offline after you do additional investigations with the planner and the engineer, as well as DEP and DEC, to figure out what's the best plan going forward. Does that make sense?
I would say that was accurate, right? If you want to advise your clients to, for whatever reason, if you're looking at the lot, if you're looking at the area and you think 4 lots is better, of course you can do 4 lots, but it doesn't, at least from our initial review, it doesn't seem to change the process at all, whether you go 4 lots or 6 lots.
Exactly.
Okay. The concern here is if you have 4 lots, and we are talking about the lots which are in that corner 4 together, so if those would become 2 lots, then I have more room for these stormwater management practices, while now I'm basically.
So,
engineering.
right, that's an engineering. If you think it's better to engineer, that's totally within your purview. It's whatever you and your clients decide is best for the project. We're just letting you know whether it's 6 lots or 4 lots doesn't change our process, but it could make, I guess theoretically, could shorten the process overall if you're saying it's easier to engineer the entire site using 4 lots, because then there's less review required.
And approval, yeah.
Right, and then there'd be less review, most likely, because it would just work better. But that's a decision you and your clients have to make. It's not something for our board, per se, at this stage. And you don't have to decide the second either. You can.
Okay, so.
You can.
Sleep on it.
Over the next few weeks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. So, if there's no other business to come before the board, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Everyone, welcome to the Town of East Fishkill Planning Board meeting for August 15th, 2023. Will you please all rise?
Getting ready to submit to DOT for the highway work permit, but we're going to make sure